नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है। मैं हूं राहुल और आप देख रहे हैं eVidya चैनल्स और NCERT का ऑफिशियल यूट्यूब चैनल। चैनल नंबर 6 से लेकर 12 तक हम हाजिर हैं लेकर अपना सहयोग सेशन इन विच वी टॉक अबाउट मेंटल वेलबींग एंड मेंटल वेलनेस ऑफ आवर एडोलेसेंट्स। और ख़ासकर अभी जैसा समय चल रहा है उसके मुताबिक आज हमारा जो टॉपिक है ऑफ डिस्कशन इन टुडे सहयोग इज़ बीटिंग प्रोक्रास्टिनेशन एंड डेवलपिंग गुड स्टडी हैबिट्स। बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट ये एक फैक्टर है सभी बच्चों के जीवन में। इस पर आज हम चर्चा करने जा रहे हैं। बट बिफोर वी बिगिन दिस सेशन आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर द मैसेज ऑफ G20. We are proud that India assumed the G20 presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in country in 2023. A nation deeply committed to the democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in the history as it seeks to play an important role by finding the pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so manifest the true spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. So with this positive note, would like to start this session. This would be the interactive session, so you can also be a part of the same session. If you have any questions or queries, dial 8800440559. This is the contact number. With the help of it, you can connect with us, with our experts. We have two panelists in today's Sahyog session, Dr. Prachi Ghildayal from our Northeast Regional Institute of Education, Shillong. Dr. Prachi, namaskar and a very warm welcome in the session.
Namaskar. Thank you.
And we have practicing counselor Ms. Marsha Sabreen Rahman. Ms. Marsha, namaskar and a very warm welcome.
Namaskar. Thank you.
All right. So with these two ladies would like to start this session. First, we need to understand the subject, that is beating procrastination and developing good study habits. So the question arises here for the counselor. Ms. Marsha, what is procrastination? How we can understand this long spell word easily for all the students, for all the stakeholders of our session?
Yes, so the topic, as you have seen, it's beating procrastination and developing good study habits. First, we need to know what is procrastination. As you have seen, procrastination, it actually has derived from a Latin word procrasti, which means deferred.
Okay.
So, which means deferred until tomorrow. That means delaying things or postponement. It is seen in some of the researches conducted. It is seen that many students, they during examination or during it is seen mostly when assignments are given to them or project work is given to them to complete, they procrastinate a lot. So they think that we'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. You know, as it is said that procrastination leads to delay of many things. And with that also many problems may be developed, like anxiety issues and stress related things, no? So we need to do things on time. So basically procrastination means you are delaying the things each day. Like tomorrow you have your exam and suppose tomorrow you have your maths exam. A student is very weak in maths. So he will keep on delaying the things, like he will think, okay, in the morning I'll study and I'll be able to do it. But that's not how it works, right? Last minute study is just required for revision. But procrastination leads to anxiety as well as deterioration of the students. And this topic, we have taken beating procrastination because nowadays we have seen that many students procrastinate, for which during exam time they become anxious, and many students also faint because they are not aware of what to write in the exam because they are not well prepared. So procrastination leads to many problems.
Okay, right. And if we want to understand it easily in our daily life, language, we can say our local dialect. So it is called टाल मटोल और टालने की आदत जो बच्चों में खास कर देखी जाती है. So this is the definition of procrastination. Thank you very much, Ms. Marsha. I would like to know more in detail about it and what type of procrastinations are there so that people may aware about it.
Yes sir, definitely. As we have said कि हिंदी में भी जैसे आपने बोले कि procrastination मतलब चीज़ों को टालना है ना, तो procrastination is of two types. One is active procrastination and passive procrastination. Now we have to understand what is active procrastinating and passive procrastinating. So active procrastinators are those who keep on delaying things, but they know that they have to complete the things on a particular time. They, in short, active procrastinators are successful and they can do things on the time, and they need the pressure for which they themselves, create that environment that we will do the things later. But they complete it. This is active procrastination. And when it comes to passive procrastinators, procrastinators are those category of students or people who keep on delaying things, and when the deadline comes, even then they fail to submit the things on time. It might be assignments, it might be project works, or any other things. So, in short, passive procrastinators might have low self esteem, they might have many other related issues, they might have low self confidence, and they might also have failure, like they have the fear of failure for which they keep on procrastinating, and with that also they don't do their work on time. So this is the main difference between two types of procrastinators.
All right, perfectly fine. Thank you very much for this definition and types of procrastination. Thank you very much. Moving ahead, and would like to know more about the habit as we talk about procrastination. We have Dr. Prachi with us from our Northeastern Regional Institute of Education, Shillong Center. Dr. Prachi, what are the causes of the same? I hope this question arises from the side of parents, जो कि हमारे एक मेन स्टेक होल्डर हैं इस दिस प्रोग्राम. सो कैसे आप इसको एक्सप्लेन करेंगी?
Yes, Rahul. So procrastination has a number of causes. The very first cause is that there are some people who are scared of not being able to do a job. So this is called fear of failure. So they are afraid that if they attempt that thing, they may not really succeed in it. So they keep postponing it because they are afraid of failing. So they don't even attempt it. So that is one reason. There are other reasons like distraction. So people are at times distracted. They get distracted from the goal because something immediately which is available now looks more tempting, more pleasurable. So they get into that and they forget the major goal. As avoidance is also something very similar to fear of failure, because they don't want to actually get into something because they are not sure of how they will be able to manage it, so they avoid it. And all these causes are actually linked. The people who are trying to avoid, the people who are scared of failing in that job, there are sometimes people who are struggling with a low self-esteem. They think that they will not be able to do it. They think that they are not really good at it, or they are not suited to a particular task. So because of this low self-esteem, they have this feeling that they will not be able to carry the task through. So they avoid, they get easily distracted, they are scared of failure. Another important thing which is a cause for procrastination is that people, especially the new generation and most procrastinators, they do not value time. They do not realize the value of time. They always feel that they will be able to do it. Of course, yes, there are some people who work best under pressure. So they want to create that pressure for themselves. They might be able to manage the job. But a lot of young people, a lot of even us, we just keep postponing because we don't value time. We feel there's always a lot of time, and at the end of it, we will talk about it. You realize that you didn't really have enough time. A lack of self-discipline, lack of willpower. You feel like doing it, but you do not have the willpower to persist at that. Okay, so you get easily distracted by something that is coming up. So these are some of the things that cause procrastination. And one important thing when we are trying to understand procrastination is that as long as we are doing things because of something called extrinsic motivation, I'm doing something because someone has forced me to do, or I will get some reward because of doing it, and not just for the simple reason for not just for the simple reason of getting the pleasure of doing it. So as long as we are motivated or we are doing something for reasons other than the pleasure of doing that job, we might be prone to procrastination. So these are some of the things. So a personal vision is very important. A personal vision, the absence of a personal vision and the lack of will is very crucial. Is a very crucial cause of procrastination. These days, people also have so much of choice. They have the choice to decide for themselves, and in that abundance of choice, they lose their priorities. They are not able to prioritize what is most important, and they get sidetracked by things which, in the long run, do not feed up to the main goal. They are trivial things. So these are some of the causes of why people procrastinate, Rahul.
Right, right. Thank you very much for sharing these causes of the same. Moving on to the next thing, which I would like to ask, what happened when child is suffering from this? If we think about this as a problem, so what happens due to procrastination in the studies, in the life of the student? Dr. Prachi, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes,
Please.
Rahul.
Yes, please
So,
go on.
the very first impact of procrastination is that it stops you from doing what you really have to do. So people who are procrastinating, it's not that they are not doing anything. They are not. It's procrastination is not the same as being lazy, and it's not the same as being relaxing or taking things easy. People who procrastinate, you will see that they are always busy. They are always doing something, but they are not doing the right things. So they are always engaged in something, but instead of working on important tasks, they focus on trivial activities and they lose sight of the goal. That the things that they end up doing are intensive. They are not the things that they really need to do or that they really like to do. So as a result, what happens is that they become very frustrated towards the later stage, because everything that was required to be done is piled up. There's a lot of work to be completed, and they have also not engaged in something that they really liked to do, they wanted to do, which causes a lot of frustration that I'm always busy, but I am not getting any pleasure out of it, nor am I getting my work done, nor am I able to sort my issues out. So all these, this attitude or this behavior of procrastinating, it causes a lot of frustration and stress at the end. As one of the Greek philosophers said, that while we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away. So we do not realize, and at the end of the day, we realize that we have missed the bus. So it's basically a lot of waste of time that could have been invested in more meaningful things. By the time we realize that we need to finish this job, we are left behind. We are neck deep into work and we are under stress, or we are left behind because others have gone ahead and we have not been able to catch up with them because we were not prompt. We were not keeping pace with everything else and as it was required. The work accumulates at the end. When you have a deadline, there are too many things to do, and what happens also is that you end up doing poor quality work which you could have done in a much better manner if you had managed your time and you had begun at the right time and kept doing the things as it was required to be done. You could have done it in a much better manner. But now that you are short of time, you try to finish off the work, and in the process, the quality of work really suffers. So basically, procrastination can lead to a lot of stress, especially because we are talking about the exams and how children may be procrastinating and how it might affect them. So last minute studies, we say we burn the midnight oil, but burning the midnight oil may not be enough for us, because things which need to be internalized, which need to be revised, you cannot do that because you are just cramming up last minute. So these are some of the effects of procrastinating.
Right, agreed. Uh, Thank you very much for sharing the deep insight, and the reason and the effects of the same. So moving ahead, we have a practicing counselor, Miss Marsha. Miss Marsha would like to know, as we discussed, beating procrastination and developing good study habits. So what about the good study habits? How it can be developed, or maybe to find in the way of student life? Miss Marsha, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to study habits, what are the good study habits that the students can, take up? So first is like having the right study materials. It
Okay.
is one of the very important point in what type of environment are you studying, or the student is studying, or your child is studying, because the space where she or he studies is a space where he uh, he can relate the things, he needs to read, he needs to memorize the things in a proper way. So getting the right place in a room is very important factor for developing a good habit. Okay. And second is rewriting or outlining your notes. You need to prepare notes so that the last minute study, right, which might happen because of procrastination, that you have left everything for the last moment, and what you will do now. So at this point, these notes that you will rewrite it when while you are studying, it will be of very helpful to you. When you write the notes point wise, you can also, it will also be easy for the students to memorize the things, and it will also help them to get a last minute revision. And then the third point, that is, we the students or any of us should not have any distractors. But here by distractors, what I mean is the distractors like phone, laptop, or any other things which distract the student from studying. Nowadays we have seen the youngsters, right, like the school students, the adolescence age. When we talk about the adolescence age, they at the time of studying, they just take the phone and they start watching the videos of any chapter. They just see the summary and then they go for exam. So that's not how that's not how the study things should be organized. You should always first read the chapter and then you should go and see the video, because in the video all the contents might not be there which are in the book. So these type of distractions while you are studying, you should always keep in mind. And the fourth point is time management. You should always have a good timetable. Like as the saying goes, no, that time and tide waits for none. So it is very true, because if the timetable of your routine is not fixed properly, like till what time you are going to study and for what time are you going to revise the lessons that you have studied, it becomes a problem for you to continue the habit. That is why we also see, nowadays, like the metric exams and also in the class 12 exams, students find it so much pressurized. Though their syllabus is less, still they feel pressurized. Why? The sole reason is time management, because they don't manage their time effectively. So that is one of the very important factor, that you should have a proper routine. And the fifth point is set a schedule with breaks and social time. You should have break time also, where you can go and talk with the parents or you can talk with your friends over the phone. And also you should give time to your social networking. Like all the time using Instagram, Facebook or Snapchats won't help you to maintain a good study habit. At the time when you study, you should only focus on studying, and the rest time you can devote it to your friends and families and everyone, right? And last but not the least is task batching. that is a strategy where, you know, this things which you are going to study, it needs to be categorized. Categorized like, suppose if we, for a student of class 6, 7, if he has to do some trigonometry or any sums, he need to first write the steps, right? Like in maths, you need step 1, step 2, and then you come to the solution. Same way, in task patching, you need to categorize the things which you will study in a chapter. So this categorizing of the things will help you a lot in having a quick view of whatever you have studied. So these are the things, if you practice, then good study habits can be maintained.
Right, can be maintained and developed over the period of time. It is a task of practice, and as we know, practice makes man perfect, and man is called in this session are the students. So, Dr. Prachi, we are about to conclude the session. So, would you like to share some of the things as a concluding remarks? You have hardly a minute.
Yes, Rahul. I mean, I think with young people, it's not such an easy task to tell them not to procrastinate. There are so many temptations around. There are so many distractions around. Not only for young people, even for us, it's not so easy to be focused. But the thing is that we need to visualize the difficulties that we are going to face. Later on, we might enjoy this moment because we thought, I want to do this because it's very tempting rather than study. But later on, you have to study. It is important for you, for us, for all of the students to study. So it's important for them to keep that focus, that goal in mind, and do things. Of course, take breaks. As Masha said, take breaks. Give yourself a reward when you are able to complete a task. That is very important. So things that you want to watch a video, you say, let me finish this. I will watch this video once I have done this. So that way you are going to keep a balance between the two things. So it is, I understand in today's world, it's not so easy to be so focused on, especially on something like studies, because studies are also being done in so many ways. But it's not only about studies, it's about everything in your life that you need to plan, be focused, and be also aware of the consequences of getting derailed at this stage.
Right.
It is going to cause a lot of trouble at a later stage. So that is also important for us to keep in mind.
Right, right. Thank you very much for this deep insight and sharing with us. Thank you very much, Dr. Preeti Gildial. आप हमारे साथ जुड़ी and you took this session on beating procrastination and developing good study habits. Thank you very much for this wonderful content. And thank you, Miss Marsha Sabreen Rahman. She is the practicing counselor, joined us in this session. Thank you, Miss Marsha. Thank you very much for joining this session.
Thank you, sir.
So, would like to conclude this session with the positive note of G20. We are proud that India assumed the G20 presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country in 2023. A nation deeply committed to the democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in the history as it seeks to play an important role by finding the pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so manifest the true spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. So, with this positive note, I would like to conclude this session, but you stay connected with the NCERT's official YouTube channel and eVidya channels for such type of shows. We bring you daily, and keep following our social media handles for the information related to these sessions. Thank you very much. Keep watching. Namaskar.